The plane hadn't even taken off when the tension began. A black woman stood quietly beside seat 2A, her boarding pass firm in her hand. "That's my seat," she said softly, though her voice was steady. The man in the seat didn't move. He looked up, smiled faintly, and laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound that carried through the cabin. Other passengers glanced over, curious but silent. To them, she was just another traveler who must have made a mistake. But what no one knew, what that laughing man could never have imagined, was that the woman he was mocking owned the very airline he was flying. And before the plane touched the clouds, the entire cabin would learn what real power looked like. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Amara Lewis was known in boardrooms as a visionary, in headlines as a trailblazer, the youngest black woman to own a commercial airline in the United States. But she was also known for her humility. She believed leadership wasn't about distance, it was about connection. Once every few months, Amara would travel without security or first-class priority to see how her airline truly ran. She'd sit among the passengers, eat the same food, and feel the same experience. That day, she was heading from New York to Los Angeles. Dressed in a sleek gray suit, no one could tell who she was. She blended into the crowd, holding a simple boarding pass, seat 2A. As she entered the cabin, a tall man in a navy blazer was already sitting there. He didn't look up, didn't even glance at her ticket. To him, she didn't belong in that space, and he made sure she felt it. Amara paused beside him. Her seat number glowed clearly above, 2A. She waited a moment, then spoke softly. "Excuse me, I believe this is my seat." The man chuckled, leaning back with a smirk. "I think you're mistaken," he muttered, waving her off like a nuisance. His tone carried the kind of superiority that expected obedience. She held out her boarding pass politely. "It says 2A." He didn't even look. Instead, he laughed, a dry, arrogant laugh that made the nearby passengers uncomfortable. "Sure it does," he said. "Why don't you check in economy, sweetheart? This section isn't exactly for everyone." The words stung more than she cared to admit. A few passengers glanced up, some frowning, but no one intervened. The flight attendant arrived, unsure what to do as the man raised his voice. "Tell her to find another seat," he barked. "She's clearly confused." The attendant checked both passes, her face paling. "Sir, she's correct." "You're in 2B." The man's smile faded. Still, instead of apologizing, he rolled his eyes. "Fine," he roared. "Guess I'll move so the lady can sit where she doesn't belong." Amara lowered her gaze, quietly sliding into her rightful seat as murmurs rippled around. The laughter that followed wasn't loud, but it echoed all the same, humiliation disguised as humor. As the plane taxied, the man leaned toward his neighbor and whispered, "Unbelievable. They'll let anyone in business class now." Amara heard it. Every word. She said nothing. Her silence wasn't surrender, it was calculation. Because by the time this flight landed, that man would learn who really belonged. Midway through the flight, the captain's voice came over the speaker, calm and professional. "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. We're honored today to have the owner and CEO of our airline traveling with us, Ms. Amara Lewis. Thank you for joining us on board." The cabin went still, heads turned instantly toward her. The man beside her froze, his smirk gone, his face drained of color. Amara sat quietly, reading her magazine, unfazed by the sudden attention. The man stammered, trying to speak, but no words came. His arrogance evaporated in the silence that followed. Passengers who had looked away earlier now stared in disbelief. Amara finally lifted her eyes and met his. There was no anger, only a calm strength that spoke louder than anything he could say. She adjusted her seatbelt and whispered just one sentence, barely audible over the hum of the engines. "Still think I don't belong?" When the plane landed, the man rushed to apologize, but Amara stopped him gently. "It's not your apology that matters," she said. "It's your awareness." Her voice carried the weight of experience, not vengeance. She knew this moment wasn't about humiliation, it was about revelation. The incident went viral the next day. A passenger had recorded the scene, Capturing the moment arrogance met its match. The internet exploded with reactions, some angry, some inspired. But what stood out wasn't the embarrassment of one man. It was the quiet dignity of one woman. Amara never released a statement, never named him, never boasted about what happened. She didn't need to. Her silence told the world everything. Real power doesn't shout. It simply is. Weeks later, she introduced a new training program for her airline. Respect at 30,000 feet. Its message was simple. Dignity shouldn't depend on assumptions. And every time she flew, she still sat in business class. But now when passengers saw her face, they saw more than a seat. They saw a story, a reminder, a lesson. Because sometimes the person you think doesn't belong owns the very sky you're sitting under. Where are you watching from? What city? What country? Let's talk about it in the comments. Take care.